Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Exploratory. It's Dr. Quincy Hawley, and this week we're doing something kind of different. So I'm actually talking about my story of abusing alcohol and how I was able to overcome that to live what I consider the best life possible. And how you, if you are having a struggle, or if you've had a struggle in the past, or if you know someone who's going through something challenging right now, and now are the times of COVID-19, so there's a good chance that maybe you are struggling, or maybe someone you know is struggling, maybe a team member or a colleague or a family member or a friend is struggling. And this episode will give you some tools and strategies and ways in which you can give them hope. And so if you're looking to be able to live the best life possible, if you're looking to be able to get your way in life and in veterinary medicine, then this episode has a lot of gems. It's a little bit shorter than some of the previous episodes that we've done. But with that being said, welcome to another episode of Exploratory, where we aim to explore all things related to veterinary well-being, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Toward well-being for the...
All right, we got to rewind it back a little bit. Let's see. I'm recording.
I've been on a personal...
Okay, so basically, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Quincy Hawley, co-founder of Get MotiVETed. I'm a veterinarian by trade, but a well-being enthusiast by passion. I'm a dreamer. I like to do my best to live a life of heaven on earth. And so we recorded this thing called MotiVETed Mornings back when we first got started in 2018. It was kind of like a little 3-part video series that we did, telling my story, Renee's story, and then episode 3 was about suicide with our behavioral health expert and suicide specialist, Dr. Barry Feldman. But anyway, on this episode, I talked about my story, and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of commentary here. I've never done anything like this before, so we'll see how it turns out. You may or may not be able to see me. I kind of hope you can't see me because my hair is a hot mess right now, but we're going to roll on anyway. Roll on.
So I understand that you've been on a
This is kind of fun.
personal and professional journey toward well-being for the past, we'll say 5-year stretch, maybe a little bit longer. Can you share some key points with us?
Yes, so my story is that I am from a small town called Oxford, North Carolina. Grew up with an amazing family, had an amazing mother, an amazing father. My mom was a school teacher, and she was absolutely just the best mom. I feel like I had the best parents ever. And I went to North Carolina A&T State University on a full ride tennis scholarship. Did that for 4 years, and then in 2009, from 2009 to 2013, I went to NC State's College of Veterinary Medicine, where I got my veterinary degree. And I moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina to practice small animal for a large corporate practice. I enjoyed the job. I did enjoy the job. I had a great rapport with the clients. I had a great rapport with my coworkers, both the doctors, the nurses, and all the other support staff. I had a great mentor. I had a great boss at that point in terms of veterinary medicine. But I believe that I was in a situation that quickly spiraled into a burnout situation. My performance and my productivity were great. I was doing great in that department, but I believe that the full package of having such a high case load and surgery load and just accepting everything that walked through the door, along with the general circumstances and conditions and life events that can happen through life that we all go through as human beings, that without having goals, without continuing to dream about the absolute best life possible that I wanted for myself, that I got really, really, really complacent with life. every day became just another day, if you will. I didn't have any tools to help me cope with the difficult days that come with a really, really, really busy practice. And not having those tools, not having the strategies, and not understanding the life principles that we can actually create the lives that we want for ourselves, and not having those goals, I got off track. I was really, really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually started self-medicating. So I didn't have like any type of coping mechanisms to handle the day-to-day struggles and stress that I was going through. So what I did was I used alcohol to actually achieve the state of mind that I wanted, because I didn't have anything else at that point,
Mm-hmm.
right? So on the way home, I would literally stop by the first gas station that I would see on the way home. I would get an alcoholic beverage, get a cup, I pour the drink in the cup, and I would drink that on the way home. And when I got home, I would go to the trunk of my other car, which had some liquor in it, and I would take a couple of shots of that before I went into the house.
Did anyone know?
Okay, I'm gonna stop right here really quickly. All right, so, wow, that's pretty powerful, man. It's always funny, not funny, but interesting to hear my own story being told by myself. But there's one thing that I want to point out, and that is, in no way, form, or fashion am I blaming the difficulty of the practice that I was in, or that really, really, really busy caseload. There is one thing that I am blaming, if I'm even blaming anything, and that is the fact that I didn't have a toolbox, man, that I didn't have an army, that I didn't have just a whole bunch of resources and stuff to lean on, that I didn't have principles and an advancing perspective to lean on, and that the only thing that I had was, in my eyes, alcohol and smoking and eating and video games and watching a bunch of TV to lean on. Like, there's nothing wrong with alcohol. There's nothing wrong with smoking if that's what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with eating a lot. There's nothing wrong with TV. There's definitely nothing wrong with video games. But if those things aren't leading you to a happier, healthier, more full life of inner peace, then I would argue that maybe there's something better. And that was definitely the case in my story, at least, is that there was something better. And it's everything that I've learned since I made that transformation back in 2016, November 2016. And in hindsight, that really difficult situation of being in that hospital where I was seeing 25 to 35 cases a day and doing 10 to 15 anesthetic procedures and just being in that really tough environment, that was probably one of my best veterinary experiences in hindsight. I didn't think so at the time, but looking back, everything that I've done after that, every hospital I've been into, every veterinary experience that I've ever had has been really, I'm not gonna say really easy, but it hasn't seemed as stressful because I went through that really stressful situation, that really stressful time. So you can look at it. One of the big things we talk about now with Get MotiVETed, or at least I do in the perspective lectures that I do, is that there's an advantage in every disadvantage, and there's opportunity in all chaos that you face in life. And I really wish that I could go back to that practice, and in part, and I say wish very, very loosely because I don't really want to go back, but I wish I could go back and practice all the tools that I've learned. I mean, I've probably read over 100 books since those days, man, and I've just learned so much, just hundreds, probably thousands of hours of continuing education as it relates to well-being. So if you find yourself in a similar situation where you're struggling, where you hate your practice, where you feel like you're just completely burned out because of the job, my challenge to you is to start today and right now. And if you hear my voice right now, if you're watching this video, then you're you're already on the right track. But see how good you can make that situation with building up a massive and robust well-being army. Okay. And I'm going to have lectures in the future, videos and articles and things like that on how to do just that. If you're looking for a race approved way to get CE credits for learning information like this, go to www.getmotiveteduniversity.com. You're probably watching this video on that same platform right now as we speak. So go there. We do have a race approved course that you can learn a lot of the information that I'm talking about and learn a lot of the tools and strategies and find some resources that may help you, and you can actually get CE credit for it. So that's pretty dope. So, all right, let's keep watching.
My wife knew. I don't think that she knew the extent of sort of what I was going through and what I was doing. And I think it's important to note that I didn't really know that I was going through anything. I was just doing me, basically, if that makes any sense. And I was, the self-medicating, it works. You don't really know that you're in a state of depression necessarily. You don't really know that you're going through the struggle, that you're suffering from poor well-being, because you think what you're doing at any given time is probably halfway normal. And I don't think any of my colleagues knew, and I don't think anyone would have ever suspected, because I was performing and producing as a veterinarian should. As a veterinarian should. It was that carried on for like the first 3 years after graduating from veterinary school, and it was very frequent. But it was the day after the presidential election that something came over me. So I'm an avid fan of the stock market, and I was looking at stocks, and I had a realization, and I realized that I was running myself into the ground, basically. And I was probably going to end up killing myself, if not intentionally, but through the behaviors and the practices that I had, through the unhealthy. I gained a lot of weight. I was eating just all types of poor food. The food was another thing that kind of helps with the stress. So the more stressful my morning when I was at work, the fattier the meal that I actually craved and desired and wanted to have when I would go to lunch. And so I just stuff it all in and, have that extreme full feeling when I went back to work. But I made a commitment to myself. I made a decision on that day that I was going to pursue the absolute best life possible for myself for the rest of my life. And I decided to spend every second, minute, hour, day, week, and month of the rest of my life pursuing my full potential as a human being. And that was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my entire life. And the cool thing is that I know that anyone can make a decision like that. Anyone can decide to pursue greatness, and just their life will manifest in the exact way that they're carrying themselves.
Okay, so here we see that I guess the first thing is that it was very private. My struggle was very private. So my boss didn't know. And if you're a hospital leader or a leader of any sort, practice manager, owner, whatever, like, I think it's really important to know. I talked to so many practice managers and leaders, and they're like, we don't have a well-being issue here at this hospital. And I'm not sure if my bosses would have known that I was having a well-being issue. I'm not sure. They would probably say the same thing if someone were to call their hospital and offer them well-being tools and strategies and resources and say, no, we don't need that because everybody here is good. And I think that is so important because you just don't know what someone could be going through. Like, you may think you may see the smile, you may see the persona, you may see the facade of someone who is happy and fulfilled, but that person may be really, really, really struggling. And so to me, it's not we don't need it because everyone's good. It's in every organization needs a well-being initiative, a well-being liaison, a well-being committee, well-being tools, strategies, and resources at the individual and the organizational level. Like, it's not something that's optional, in my opinion. And most of the resources out there are really cost effective, and it's just silly. And when I think about it, it kind of gets me. And you can, maybe you can hear it in my voice. Like, I get a little bit frustrated because not at one single point in my 3 years, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say my 5 years of being in practice, that during a practice meeting, a manager's meeting, and I had some good managers. I had some good people who I worked with. They were amazing people that I worked with, but not one single time in a meeting did someone say, hey, yeah, we've got this really cool resource that, if you're struggling, or if you're dealing with this, or that, or if you just want to take life to the next level, if you want, to learn more about well-being, like, this is a resource that we are providing for you guys through this group, or through this resource. And hopefully if you're struggling, then you know that we're there for you. That conversation never happened, man. And that's what, 365 times 5, like whatever that number is, that's how many days of me being in veterinary medicine that was never sort of given to me. It wasn't until I went to the Veterinary Leadership Conference in Chicago. I was an emerging leader, and that's just really almost by pure luck. I'll tell that story one day, how I got there. But I learned from a lecture by a veterinarian. Her name is Dr. Betsy Charles, and she was talking about leadership stuff, and she mentioned some compassion fatigue stuff and burnout, and that was the first time that I learned about wellness, it was called back then. And then Dr. Jen Brandt came in, and she was like, it's really not wellness, it's more well-being. The two are slightly different. When I'm thinking wellness, I'm thinking more so blood pressure and health, as opposed to overall and general well-being, which consists of mind, body, spirit, in my opinion. And that's also what we changed our tagline, our slogan, from wellness solutions to well-being solutions to the veterinary community. But yeah, it was just hard, man. People didn't know. But that commitment that I made, I think that's the other thing that I just talked about right before I paused it. That commitment was powerful. I know in that RACE approved program that I'm talking about, the veterinary well-being choice, how to prioritize, cultivate, and maintain well-being as a veterinary professional, that talk, which is RACE approved, that I go very deep into what does a commitment look like? How do you make an effective commitment? And like, what's the next step after the commitment? Because you can't just commit to something. I talk about like what fake commitments look like, and we're all familiar with the fake commitment a little bit, like the New Year's resolutions, like, oh, okay, I'm going to lose weight, and you've got a slice of pizza in one hand and a beer in the other, and you're talking about how you're going to lose weight and get in shape and get a six-pack and all that stuff in the current year, which is just a failed commitment by default. But yeah, commitment's so important, man. And when I say that my life completely exploded and was completely different, I mean, I can't even, it's almost hard to describe when I look at my life right now. And so that commitment was back in 2016. It's 2020 now. And I honestly feel like I live a life of heaven on earth. It is insane. That is not a bragging proposition. I struggle. I still have my days where like life is hard. COVID has made things hard and difficult. And just life in general, man. Just being a human, there's going to be good, there's going to be bad. It's always going to be that way. But when you learn the tools and strategies that Renee and I are talking about in these videos, in our content, in our podcasts, and in our lectures and our race approved stuff, like, when you learn these things and apply these things, I promise you, your life will be completely different. It's impossible that it cannot be different. So just give these things a shot, man. And again, this is a 15-minute YouTube video, and you're getting some gems here. But if you go deeper into the content on Get MotiVETed University, I mean, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna go crazy talking about this stuff. All right.
What kind of challenges do you think that you've had since making that decision?
See, challenges.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the challenges that I had prior to making my transformation were the typical challenges that every human being faces, and I'm sure that most veterinarians are kind of dealing with. So between the student loan debts and other bills and circumstances and conditions and life events that can happen.
Like COVID.
I lost 3 uncles in over the course of a year and a half, all due to heart-related disease. So,
And since then, let me tell you, like, life continues to happen. So I recorded this video probably in 2018. It's 2020 now. This is probably in the spring. This is probably in the spring or summer of 2018 where I recorded that video. And now 2 years later, here in 2020, I lost my grandmother about 6 months ago. And so she was probably the closest person to me I've ever lost. One of my veterinary technician friends that I worked with her, and she was just a great person. And we were friends beyond just being coworkers. And about a week after my grandmother passed away, she passed away, and rest in peace to Jamie Naiman. And that was hard. And then just right after New Year's, my 37-year-old first cousin passed away due to some things. And so life, guys, like it's always gonna happen. Like you know that in vet med sometimes things are gonna happen, and you know that in life things are gonna happen. And I think that the older you get, the more things that happen, because people are getting older, and your circle of friends, maybe it grows, and so you know more people, and you're sort of involved in other people's affairs a little bit, and life is going to happen. It can't not happen. You can't have good without having bad, just like you can't have front without back, up without down, hot without cold. The two polar opposites, they simply go together. And I believe in veterinary medicine, we don't really understand that principle a lot. We don't understand that it's all... You can't have an amazing veterinary profession without having parts that aren't amazing to go with it. It's impossible. Like, how would you even know that something's awesome without something negative to compare it to, right? I mean, how would you know? And so knowing that it's like a waveform. So if you can see the mouse, I think you can see it. Life is like this: good and bad, and good and bad. And we have to learn how to do. And what Renee and I are trying to teach and help you discover is that when you can make these moments down here, okay, when you can find inner peace in these moments. Look, if my mom or dad dies tomorrow, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to cry. I may even have a depressive episode, right? It's going to be, I probably won't have a depressive episode, but I'm going to be really sad, but I'll still have a sense of inner peace. And I'm going to be looking for advantages in this disadvantage. I'm going to be looking for opportunity in this chaos. And I'm going to be remembering that life's always happening for me and not to me as I'm down here. Okay, and that will help me to get back up here faster. What a lot of people have a tendency to do is the good happens, weddings, parties, celebrations, promotions, raises, getting paid, and then something negative happens, COVID-19, you get laid off, and you just stay down here in this funk. until COVID's gone, or you stay down here in this funk for years or for months or days or hours, whatever that time frame happens to be. But when you're able to change your perspective, and again, we talk about this in the Wellbeing Choice course, you're able to come down and get right back up like that. So it's more like this than it is like this. Okay.
People die.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway, I'm rambling, preaching.
And I had difficult cases that maybe I couldn't solve, or things that just didn't work out in general. But the challenges that I have now after making that transformation are completely different. I'm dealing with challenges of which opportunity am I going to take? Which of these amazing opportunities that have come about am I going to take? Like, what amazing things am I going to do on any given day? And it's a completely different lifestyle that I was living before. So yes, I still have some of those day-to-day challenges, but I don't even see them as challenges anymore. I see them as opportunities for me to grow. So any difficulty that comes about, I look for the advantage and the disadvantage, and I move forward, and I'm actually thankful for it. And with this new perspective and outlook on life, my worst days now become my best days. So the more challenges, the better at the end of the day.
Okay, so you guys are probably thinking, oh, he's full of doo-doo. He's trying to tell us that the more the bad things that happen to him, like the happier he is. Come on, get out of here, man. And yeah, I'm kind of full of it. But seriously, guys, seriously. What I'm saying here is that I understand that life's like this. Good and bad. I get that. I understand that. And I understand that in every disadvantage, there's an equivalent advantage. Okay, I understand that. And so I understand that if I have a lot of bad things happen, I'm going to go back and assess those bad things, and I'm going to look for the advantages, and I always find one. And it's always even more of an advantage than when something good happens. Okay, and so it's hard when you're actually going through it. All right, so if your house burns down, it's going to be hard as you're actually processing through your house burning down. If your kids are sick, if you're a parent, like, it's going to be difficult. You're going to be worried. You're going to be concerned. But there's always an advantage in every disadvantage. And I know that sounds really stupid, but you just have to practice it. Get really good at seeing those advantages. Really good at finding the opportunity, and then when you go back, you'll be like, what is he talking about? Like, he has trying to choose between which opportunity he's going to take. I mean, there's just not enough. I feel like I'm a master of my 24 hours. There just isn't enough time for Quincy, for me, for Dr. Hawley to do all of the amazing things that I want to do in life. And I'm at the point now where every day truly is, it's just a good day. And so I know it sounds too good to be true, but if you go hard with your well-being, with your personal development, with your mindfulness, with your understanding the power of now, understanding the law of polarity, that there can't be good without bad, it can't be bad without good, there can't be negative without positive. Like, if you go on a self-discovery journey, you will see for yourself. It'll be much easier for you to just do it and find out it's impossible to not get the results. That I can't explain it. You just have to kind of see it for yourself. Take my word for it until then.
Yeah, so do you think that do you feel like you got the support you needed when, after making that decision and moving into this new way of life? Do you feel like, has that been a challenge for you, or do you feel like people have supported you, not supported you? Is there an advantage in that? Only because people have asked me that along the way, when you're kind of going against the grain or against the herd. Do you feel like people support you?
The individuals who understand what we're trying to do as entrepreneurs and as individuals who ultimately want a life of well-being, a life where every single day is controlled by myself as opposed by external conditions and factors and circumstances. The people who understand that lifestyle and those concepts, they've been supportive because they get it, right? So I've had some really amazing mentors that have come about, and once you make a decision to pursue the absolute best life possible, individuals who are doing the exact same thing just start to come out of nowhere.
Okay.
And so yes, they are supportive, and
So, wow, this is a really big and important one. You know, the mentors, the friends, the circle of friends, the support network. Guys, let me tell you, if you're looking to have a very strong and quality circle of friends, and you guys all know the saying that you are the sum total of the 5 closest people who are around you, and I definitely believe in that. I've had just the most amazing people come into my life who are able to support and help my mission, my purpose, my vision. And it's always a mutual thing where I can add some value to their lives. They can add value to mine. And hands down, guaranteed, rest assured, if you go on this journey, like attracts like. So I'm not going to say the law of attraction or whatever, because a lot of people call it the law of radiation even, where if you're not attracting things, you're actually radiating out a certain type of energy that people will kind of sort of be attracted to. But when you start this journey of just becoming the best version of yourself possible, reaching your full potential, other people who are doing the same thing or who've already done that are going to be attracted to you. All right, they're going to come to you. You guys are going to seemingly find each other, and you'll be able to support each other. And you'll now have this group of people who understand the same principles that I'm talking about, who will be able to be a rock for you when you're having tough times, when if you need some support, if you need, a support system, you're going to have that, man. And it's just, again, another thing that's really hard to describe. You're going to start to elevate the people around you. They're either going to leave, they're either going to go away, or they're going to elevate to your level, because you're going to be about your business. You're going to be about your life. You're going to be about, just happiness, abundance, prosperity, all of that jazz. And that if their lives don't align with that, they will just naturally sort of, you'll naturally drift apart. But the good news is that most people are going to see the positivity that you're radiating and the happiness that you are displaying, that more than the happiness, more than the positivity. Like sometimes positivity can be crap. Sometimes happiness is, I don't even know what that is, but like the inner peace and the fulfillment and the purpose drivenness of your life is what they will be attracted to. So screw your smile, screw your happiness, because you can fake happiness. You can fake some things some of the times, but you can't fake life. And you can't fake inner peace. You cannot fake being fulfilled. You cannot fake true well-being. Like those things can't be faked. And so that's very sexy to a lot of people. And when I say sexy, I don't mean it from the traditional sense, but people like to be around people who are just radiating good stuff. So try it out for yourself. You'll see.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us
Yeah, I would say that to anyone who may be going through anything right now, whether it's burnout, compassion fatigue, or something completely unrelated to all of that, you can and you should create the life that you want to live. And there are just, it seems there are unlimited resources that are out there to help an individual be able to achieve the life that they want to live, not the life that their parents wanted them to live, not the life that the status quo says that they should live. But those resources are there. All the people, the time is there, and you can actually achieve that what you want. That's been my experience, at least.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I'm certain that other people will appreciate the same. I think it's something really spectacular when we are able to hear other people's stories and even have it resonate with us. And I believe it breeds empathy to hear people's true stories, and maybe not just what we see through the lenses of performance or, not knowing someone fully.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to.
Okay, so here, man, if you're going through something, if life's not exactly the way you want it to be, I shoot for life being exactly the way I want it to be, because I know that I can create that. When I first recorded this video, I guess it was kind of soon after my transformation. I was pretty confident in what I had discovered and what I sort of rolled up on, if you will, and a lot of the stuff that I learned. But I can honestly say that after, man, this is insane, like 2 years later, year and a half later, I was spot on then, because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. If anything, I can speak with more conviction as to what I was saying then. I can speak with more conviction now than I could back then. And I looked like I had a lot of conviction just now when I was saying what I was saying, but it's just insane. Like, a part of me believes that as you believe, so shall it be done. And in order to speak something like what I was just speaking, if you believe in that, then it will probably happen for you. And I'm going to tell you, like, I've had some struggles since I recorded this video back in 2018, but I'm in a better place now than I was then, saying all those things that I was saying. And that's with more challenges. That's the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that, like, I've had more challenges. I've had more struggles, more difficulty. I've had setbacks. Okay? And today, as my mentee would say, it's the newest best day of my life. And it hasn't even been today's been a little bit difficult just from I don't know, sometimes you have kind of like a lazy day or whatever. But I guess today would be my equivalent of a lazy day. I'm not a fan of those days, but here I am on this day having this conversation with you guys, like finding the opportunity of, this is my first time recording a video like this, where I'm looking at myself in a video and breaking it down, and so that's new. It's fun. It's exciting. And so now today is going to be just a new and fresh day for my life. And today, for example, I had the tools to lean on, and it's been great. It's been great. You check us out. That's the best I can say. Check us out. Give it a shot. Go hard for 1 year. Just 1 year, man. Just go hard for 1 year, giving life everything you had. The time is there. The people are there. The resources are there. You will find it, and it's going to completely just change your life for the better. All right. This isn't self. I'm not trying to improve you. This is taking your life to a whole nother level. This is a completely different experience than anything you've ever tried before, is my best guess. And so if you're up for that, if you're up for taking it from 0 to 100, check us out. I'm not going to play out the rest of the video. It's just us doing the outro. Again, check out our course, the Veterinary Wellbeing Choice, at Get MotiVETed University. If you dig around on that website, you can find it. And as usual, the discount code is I forgot what the discount code is, guys. I'm gonna put it in the description. It's something like, I think it's I love Exploratory. Yeah, that's what it is. Since this is an Exploratory podcast, I love Exploratory. And yeah, okay. All right, let me see if I can't close this thing out. I don't even know. Like, am I recording? Sorry, guys. It's been different. Okay. All right. Peace. Hey, you guys have a good rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And we'll see you on the next episode of Exploratory.